Hello, welcome to our virtual exhibition. My name is Peter and I would like to show you the machines that we have here on display.
This is the SMD 133. It's our machine for slagging, deburring and edge rounding of parts that have been cut by plasma or with a gas cutter. As you can see here, we have a few samples which have been processed, and a part which has not been processed. As you can see, we have some very large dross and slag on the edges, and on the part next to it, all of these slags have been removed. We can do these parts up to a working width of 950 millimeters. And we do this process in 3 steps. So when we look at how we actually deburr those parts, we use 3 steps. And in the machine we can actually see which steps we use. First step is deslagging. We use what we call a power pin system to remove the slags. Basically we knock the slag off like we would do with a hammer. Knocking the slag off is usually a much more efficient process rather than grinding it. In our machine we use 2 belts. One belt rotates clockwise, the other belt rotates counterclockwise. And with these belts we knock the slag off from all edges of the parts. Now, knocking the slag off is usually more efficient because we don't use any abrasives. And the lifespan of these pins is very, very long. The next step is the grinding of the remains of the burr. So not all the slag can be knocked off. Usually we knock off about 80 to 90% of the slag. The rest, which is still melted onto the part, we grind away with the abrasive belt. This belt is driven by a large contact drum with a very soft rubber. This allows you to get very efficient material removal on the edges of the part, which means that we can rotate at a very slow speed, keeping the heat out of the part, so we keep a very cool grinding process. After we have removed the burrs, we have a step where we round off the edges, and we do that with our rotor brush system. We have a brush which is mounted onto an axe, 2 brushes mounted onto one head, and we have 2 heads in the machine. They rotate around their axe, and the head also rotates 360 degrees to get a nice uniform edge rounding on all the parts. To set up the SMD 133, we have a large LCD screen that we can use to set up the machine accordingly. On the screen we have a clear overview of all the heads that we have in the machine. And on the overview we can see which heads are engaged and which one is disengaged. We can engage it by simply pressing on the head, and it will also start working. On the side, we have a slider that we can use to adjust the speed of the process. And at the bottom, we have a field where we can change the thickness of the material that we're trying to process. To start with these settings, we can simply press the start button and the machine will start running.
the part just came out of the machine, and we can see that the slag has been removed, the burr has been removed, and the edge have been rounded on both inner contours and outer contours.